Hi, my name is G, and in this video we're going to finally talk about the files and directories included in the OSE Fastener Workbench that we created using the make workbench command in a previous video. We'll go ahead and start just talking about the files from the top down. You see there's this .env file. The reason why this is here is because it gives us some auto-completion of the FreeCAD module. I'll quickly give a demonstration of that. I'll create a new test.py file. I'll import FreeCAD. And now if I type FreeCAD, I'm starting to see that I have a context window that tells me more information about the FreeCAD module. I can hit tab to autocomplete, and if I press the period or dot, I'll see a context window that lists out all of the methods and attributes that I have available to me. For example, if I wanted to create a new document programmatically, I can use the new document method, and here's a context window that tells me more information about the arguments that I can pass to it, as well as description and more information on each individual argument. So really helpful auto-completion of FreeCAD, as well as other modules like the FreeCAD GUI module. So very, very helpful to have. Let me delete this test.py file before I forget. This next file is the .gitignore. If you're not familiar with Git, it's just a list of patterns that instruct Git which directories and files to ignore from version control, so you don't actually check them in. This next file is a configuration file for a third-party service that we use to build and host our documentation called readthedocs. Similarly, we have a file for another third-party service for our continuous integration called Travis CI. We have our contributing guidelines that describe how to contribute to the workbench. The environment.yaml file that we've talked a little bit about in a previous video that describes how to create the OSE Fastener Conda environment. We have our license file that contains the software license for the project. The manifest.in and setup.py file help with creating a Python package out of the workbench. And we have the README that describes some basic information that we feel like people should know. So now let's talk about some of the directories. We have that .vscode directory, and it contains an extensions.json file. This is how it knew to recommend you those 3 extensions to install. Our settings.json file that contains the workbench specific and workspace specific settings. We have our docs directory that contains our documentation. We have a directory called FreeCAD, and we'll refer to this as the workbench package. And just a quick note about a package and a module and what those are. So in Python, we call directories packages and we call files modules. So you'll hear me use those terms a lot, and they are the correct terms when we're talking about Python code and files and directories. So this is the workbench package because it contains the actual workbench. And this next folder is named after the workbench, so it's OSE Fastener. And we'll call this the library package. And the reason why we call it that is because it's actually not stuck inside of this workbench. It could be externalized and moved somewhere else to be used as a library for other workbenches. So this is the library package, and we have a folder called tests that just simply contains all of our unit tests. If you want more information about any of the files and directories that we just talked about, you can go to the OSE Workbench platform GitHub Repository, click the link on the right hand sidebar to pull up our documentation, and scroll down a little bit to the pattern catalog section. We've included a page called Root Repository Contents, and it describes all of the directories and files that are included within the root of the Workbench repository, with more information on each of those. Thank you for watching. Please let me know below if you have any questions or comments. In the next video, we're going to keep talking about the files and directories included in the Workbench and how all of it fits together. Thank you.